Welcome back to Remote Work Essentials. I'm James. Let's talk about something that keeps a lot of remote workers up at night: career advancement. Here's the fear. If you're not in the office, you'll be overlooked for promotions. You'll miss out on opportunities. You'll be forgotten when it's time for raises or maybe new projects. And honestly, the fear is not entirely unfounded, but it's also not inevitable. Let's talk about how to stay visible, build your reputation, and advance your career when you're working remotely. There's research on this. It's called proximity bias. People who are physically present in the office tend to get promoted faster. They get better projects, and they have stronger relationships with leadership. Why? Because humans are wired for proximity. We trust people we see regularly. We think of people who are top of mind. And if you're in the office, you're literally in sight. Remote workers have to kind of overcome this. You can't rely on your manager seeing you working late, or overhearing you in a meeting, or bumping into you in the hallway. But here's the thing. Visibility isn't about being seen. It's about being known for your work, your expertise, and your impact. In the office, you can kind of coast on presence. Remote, you're gonna have to be intentional about demonstrating value. This might sound exhausting, but it's actually liberating. You're not being judged on how much you're in the office. You're being judged on what you actually accomplish. So let's talk about how to make sure your accomplishments are visible. The first rule of remote career advancement: document everything. Keep a brag doc. So this is a running document where you track your accomplishments. Every week you should write down projects you completed, problems you solved, meetings that you led, positive feedback that you received, metrics that improved because of your work, skills you may have learned, or people you have helped. This isn't for anyone else. It's just for you. So when the performance review approaches, you're not trying to remember what you did 6 months ago. You have receipts. Why this matters. Remote work is asynchronous first and distributed. Your manager doesn't see all the work that you do. They see what you tell them about. If you don't document and communicate your wins, they might not know about them. This isn't bragging. This is professional communication. Be specific. Not worked on the website, but redesigned the homepage, which increased conversion rate by 12% and resulted in 500 additional signups. Track things like quantifiable results. That'd be numbers, percentages, or dollars. Qualitative wins, so things like improved team morale or streamlined a process. Feedback from your colleagues, customers, or stakeholders can also be very meaningful. Any problems that you identified and solved. Also, noting any initiative that you took beyond your job description. Weekly review. So every Friday, spend 10 minutes updating your brag doc. This does become your source material for things like performance reviews, promotion conversations, resume updates when they're needed, even LinkedIn updates. You could use them for one-on-ones with your manager. Don't trust your memory though. Write these down. So now that you're tracking your work, you need to be able to communicate it strategically. Status updates. Share what you're working on regularly, but make it valuable, not just noise. A bad update is, I'm working on the project. good update might be, launched the new dashboard feature. Early feedback is positive. 3 teams have already started using it. Next up, adding the export functionality by the end of the week. See the difference? The good update goes through and shows what you completed, the impact that it had, what's coming next, where to share these documents. Depending on your company, right, a good place can be in weekly team updates. So like those could be done in Slack or in email, depending on what that routine looks like in the organization. They could be things like project channels or even milestone meetings or conversations. And last, but certainly not least, it could be something like an all hands or a team meeting, like when they're appropriate. It's also useful, so not just in public forums, but in one-on-ones with your manager. That's a way to kind of keep them apprised of your work. The goal is to keep your work visible without being annoying. You're not saying, look at me. You're saying, here's what's happening with this project. Visibility without self-promotion. So frame your updates around team successes and business impact, not on personal glory. So instead of, I built this feature, say, the team shipped this feature, which solves this major customer problem. Instead of, I increased sales by 20%, say, our Q4 campaign drove 20% increase in sales. I'm excited to see that strategy working. You're still getting credit, but you're not making it about you. You're making it about results. While we're on it, share credit generously. So when someone helps you, make sure you call it out publicly. I couldn't have finished this without Sarah's input on the design. Or, a big thanks to the engineering team for turning this around so fast. People remember who recognizes their contributions. This builds goodwill and it makes people want to work with you. For cross-team visibility, don't just communicate within your team. Share wins in company-wide channels where they're appropriate. If you solved a problem that might help other teams, definitely share it. If you learned something that's valuable, write it up. This builds your reputation beyond your immediate manager. Other leaders in the organization see your name. Other teams know what it is you do. This is how opportunities come to you instead of you having to chase them. Meetings are one of your main visibility opportunities. Use them well. Speak up thoughtfully. You don't need to talk in every meeting, but when you do speak, try to make it count. Prepare talking points before important meetings. Don't just wing it. Contribute meaningfully. Ask insightful questions, so things that will help draw attention to new topics. Connect ideas from different speakers in different meetings. Offer solutions when you can think of them, not just problems as you see them. Share relevant expertise. If you know something, talk about it. Bridge gaps in understanding. This one's important. You want to share things that you do know that might affect this project that you could help save someone else trouble with. You want quality over quantity. One thoughtful contribution is worth genuinely more than 10 random comments. We've talked about this a little bit before, but video on for important meetings. When it matters, things like client calls, all hands, leadership meetings, presentations, turn your video on. Being visible, literally, makes you memorable. People remember faces more than they remember names in a participant list on the chat. Leading and facilitating. Volunteer to lead meetings or initiatives. This puts you in a leadership role even if you're not an official manager. Hey, I can facilitate this meeting, or I'm happy to drive this project, are career building phrases. Take ownership, that shows initiative. Leaders notice people who step up. Following up. After meetings, remember to follow up on action items. Send the summaries. Move things forward. People remember who gets things done. Your one-on-one with your manager is your most important meeting. This is where your career growth happens. Own the agenda, so don't wait for your manager to drive every conversation. Come prepared with topics. Bring things like updates on the key projects. Keep them brief. They probably know most of the detail already, but you're reminding them. You could also offer something like blockers when you need help, or questions or decisions that you need from them. Make sure you're clear about exactly what's needed. And lastly, career development topics. This is critical. Ask them, discuss with them what it means to grow your career within your organization. Talk about your career explicitly. At least once a quarter, have a career conversation. Ask things like, what does success look like at the next level? What skills should I be developing for advancement? Or what opportunities should I be pursuing? Maybe things like, how am I tracking toward promotion? And what feedback might you have for me? Don't assume that your manager is thinking about your career trajectory. Make it explicit that you care. Advocate for yourself. If you want a promotion, say so. I am interested in moving to the next level. What do I need to demonstrate to get there? If you want to work on specific projects, say so. I'd love to take on more of this kind of work. Can we talk about opportunities? Remote work will require you to self-advocate more than office work. Your manager cannot see you working late or going above and beyond. You have to tell them about it. Document these conversations. Take notes during one-on-ones. Write down any commitments, feedback, or action items. This creates a record, and it shows that you're serious about your growth. Career advancement isn't just about doing your job well. It's about being known for something. How do you become the go-to person? Pick an area of expertise and own it. Become the person that everyone asks about that topic. Maybe it's a specific tool. Maybe it's a process or a type of analysis or even a segment of your customers. Whatever you're good at, lean into it. Write documentation. Answer questions in Slack and share what you know. When people think of that topic, they think of you. That's valuable. Internal thought leadership. Share your knowledge. Write internal blog posts or how-tos. Lead lunch and learns. Present at team meetings. Contribute to onboarding materials for new hires. Mentor new hires. This builds your reputation as someone who adds value beyond their direct job responsibilities. Cross-functional projects. Volunteer for projects that span teams. This gets your name in front of other leaders and it broadens your impact at the same time. Company-wide initiatives, working groups, process improvements. These are all visibility gold mines. delivering consistently. Here's the unglamorous truth. The foundation of career advancement is doing excellent work consistently. Hit your deadlines. Produce quality output. Be reliable. Solve problems proactively when you can. All the visibility tactics in the world won't help if you're not actually good at your job. But if you are good at your job and nobody knows it, you're absolutely leaving opportunities on the table. Your external reputation. You can build your professional brand outside of your company as well. Make sure you update your LinkedIn. You got to do this regularly. Share insights from your industry. Speak at conferences when you can get an invite, either virtually or in person. Write articles or blog posts that are relevant in the topics that you are an expert at. Contribute to open source or community projects where possible. This does two things. It makes you more valuable to your current company, and it gives you options if you ever want to move. Let's be real. Some companies have proximity bias so strong that being remote will in fact hurt your career no matter what you do. If you're working remotely and you find that promotions consistently are going to in-office workers and not to remote ones, or you're excluded from important decisions, or leadership makes comments about remote workers being, quote, less committed, if you're doing everything right and it's still not advancing, you might need to have a hard conversation with your manager. Or you might need to find a company that actually values remote work. Don't stay somewhere that won't let you grow. All right, here's your action item. Start your brag document today, right now. Open a document and write down 3 things that you've accomplished in the last month. Then, schedule a career conversation with your manager for the next 2 weeks. Ask one of the questions from this episode. Your career is your responsibility. Remote work doesn't mean invisible work. Next episode, we're going to be talking about mental health and wellness, how to take care of yourself when work is isolating. I'll see you then.